Hello, very good evening, one and all. Welcome to the Mythical Ireland Library. I'm Anthony Murphy, I'm your host. This is Live Irish Myths episode number 277. This evening, we're one day past official Bealtaine. So let's talk about the ancient festival of Bealtaine, specifically in relation to the Loughcrew cairns. Hope you're all in good form this evening / night / afternoon / morning, depending on where you are. If you are here, please, whether it's on Facebook or on YouTube, do say hello in the comments and we'll have a good chat. Hope you all enjoyed the Loughcrew film, which was premiered yesterday evening on the very major YouTube channel History with Calliagh. And as of right now, that film has had 14,000 views. You will be delighted to know that that film will be uploaded also to the Mythical Ireland YouTube channel. I'm hoping to do that tomorrow. A very good evening to you all. I hope you're in good form. So let's get on with it, shall we? And say hello to everyone. Before we do, as always, please do consider supporting Mythical Ireland. There are various ways you can do that. For instance, you can go to the website, mythicalireland.com, and go to the shop, buy one of my books, buy some of my limited edition prints, buy the Mythical Ireland Curbstone 67 t-shirt, buy the calendar, buy a gift voucher for your loved one, buy a hand-forged artwork from the hands of Tom King. Become a patron, get access to extra photographs, articles, blog posts, podcasts, videos, and news updates and more, and merchandise by subscribing at www.patreon.com/Mythical Ireland. That address is constantly scrolling throughout the live streams. And please consider joining at the Stone Age level or above to get the best benefit of your patronage. Please do sign up for the newsletter. First of all, you can have a look at the new gallery of limited edition prints, which I'm sharing as a link in the comments. If you want to subscribe to the mailing list, the Mythical Ireland mailing list, please do. At the moment, we're sending out one email a week, sometimes two, but no more. You will not be spammed with rubbish. They're all deep and meaningful emails. I hope you agree. If you want to further help, you could leave a Google review for Mythical Ireland. Thank you to all those who have done amazing 33 reviews so far, all of them 5-star reviews. Thank you very much from the bottom of my heart for your support. So there are the important things. Last year, as some of you know, I made some would say brave, others would say foolhardy decision to give up my full-time career as a newspaper journalist. Sorry about that. To follow my passion and to make Mythical Ireland my full-time vocation. I'm going to scroll through now and say hello to a number of people. First in the house tonight is Elaine Dent Lingenfelter, who's on Facebook, says hello to all of us. Muggy 79 Fahrenheit, 26 Celsius here today. Anthony, it seems you had as difficult a time at choosing from your favorite photos as you did with your favorite books. Yeah, I know, right? That new gallery of 24. Wow. How did I even manage to pick 24? I just don't know. But if you're a patron or you're on the mailing list, you will know exactly the sort of difficulty that I encountered in trying to do that. Lucas Sicardi says first, well, you are indeed first on YouTube to comment tonight, Lucas. Second in total. Buena serata. Good evening to you. Hope you're in good form. Helen Hurst Chader is watching and saying greetings to all from South Dakota. Hello, Helen. Good afternoon to you. Good evening, everybody, says Lucas. Yes, indeedy. Wayne Bird is saying hello, Anthony. Evening, Anthony. Hello, everyone. The night sky has been so beautiful with Ursa Minor with its bright star Polaris, Ursa Major and Bootes with its bright star Arcturus and many more. Yeah, Arcturus, the third brightest star in the entire night sky. Or fourth. Fourth? Canopus, Sirius Canopus. It's either the third or the fourth. Oh, yeah. It's, fourth after Alpha Centauri, but the second brightest in the northern hemisphere. It's hard to believe that because it's red, so it doesn't have the same brilliant luminance as the likes of, for instance, Rigel or Vega or Capella or Sirius. Josie Weatherford is in the house. Hello, how is everyone? I'm happy to be here for the live stream. Well, we're happy you're here, of course. I'm in Limerick now. I was visiting Loughcrew for the last 2 days, and I was on top of Knockanya today. So absolutely thrilled. Brilliant stuff. You're getting around. 2 days in Loughcrew, brilliant stuff. Tell us all about it when you get the chance. Maybe some pictures on the Mythical Ireland community. Jacqueline Kelly Adams is in the house saying hello. A hearty and hail hello to all from the Pacific Northwest. Hope you and yours are doing well, Anthony. All in good form, Jacqueline, and I hope we can say the same for you and all yours. Joe Butler, Auntie Joe, is saying hello from a windy and grey Colorado. Well, we didn't have wind, we didn't have rain. We had a lot of cloud today. Clouds are trying to break as the evening comes in, just in time for the sunset. Thanks, Anthony, for episode number 277. Well, you're very welcome, Joe, of course. My pleasure. My great pleasure. And Scott Doherty is saying hello and welcome to any newcomers joining us today. Yes, indeed. Certainly over on the community. I think we had 277 people join the community in the past week on Facebook. And great to see it. And yeah, let's keep it going. Brendan Byrne is saying blue skies to grey. 4 seasons in one day. That's Ireland for you. Evening, Anthony, one and all. Yeah, well, we've had grey all day. And it looks like it finally might be beginning to break. Idina Sparks is here. Afternoon, Anthony and the Tua. Hope everyone is doing well. We'll have to watch the replay as I have an appointment today. Well, that's perfectly okay. Idina, we'll see you on the replay. There's your hello anyway. And I hope the appointment goes well. Rex Fortenberry is saying, hello there all. Is Facebook not working? Well, it is, because I'm getting a number of comments on Facebook. So try the main page rather than the community, I think, is where we usually live stream first and foremost. Judy McQueen is in the house. Launch it, Judy. Hope you're in good form. Eva Barnett is here also. Hello! How are you all? Well, I can't speak for all the rest of them, but I'm in fine fettle, looking forward to seeing people at the Bealtaine Fire Festival this weekend at Ishnock, where I will be giving a talk. It's bad signal on my end, freezing a lot, or is it just my phone? Could be, unless we get a rake of people complaining about the YouTube reception. It's probably local to you, Josie. Rex is saying, move back home to Facebook. Didn't see the notice. 90F here in Baton Rouge today. Arr! Yeah, and it's only May, you know. DB is saying, same here. DB, in relation to what? Same here. Not sure, but maybe you might fill us in. Hello to you. Anyway, Britt Griffin is watching, and it's a sunny day in Northern Ontario. Lilac tree almost in bud and loaded with blackbirds. Brilliant stuff. And my weeping beech tree in the front garden put out its leaves just in time for Bealtaine, as it always does, the week of my twin's birthday. Mariana Dunn is saying, Bannockty, dear Tua, and Anthony from Alexandria, Virginia. Good afternoon to you, Mariana. Hope you're in great form. Sheila Gunn is in the house. Hello there, Anthony and the Tua. Sitting on the deck, drinking a cold one. Glass of water, iced tea. Brilliant stuff, Sheila. I could just picture that. Very laid back way to watch. Lucas informing us that the stream is okay there on YouTube. Barbara Murphy saying, hello all. A lovely sunny, cool day in Tucson. High expected around 93 Fahrenheit. For us, that is cool for May. Oh boy. Yeah. And as I always say, why don't you shave a few of those off and send them in our direction? You know, that's almost 34 Celsius. That's like warmer than it's ever been in any part of Ireland. Teresa Collins is saying, hi everyone, happy bank holiday. I hope you all had a good one. Mythology Monday rocks. Brilliant stuff, Teresa. Glad to see you in the house. Anne McCallum is here. Hello, Antone, and all the mighty Tua. Hoping everyone is in great form. We're having a lovely 19 Celsius today. A bit cloudy at times, but we'll take it. Many thanks for all your lovely photos. Looking forward to today's episode. As always, brilliant stuff, and always a joy to have you in the house. Come, bear with me, is Colleen saying hello. Hi there, Colleen. Hope you're in great form. Burr Whelan is also in the house. Dull day. Hope you brighten it up, lol. I'll do my best. Can't promise I'll make the sun shine, but you know, I can only try. Anne says, loved the collaboration between you and Calliagh. I was wondering what the two of you were up to. Well, now you know. Heather Marie Leaning is in the house and is saying, good evening, Anthony, Tom, King, and Tua. A very good evening to you, Heather Marie. Barbara Murphy, yes, my regular friends watch on Facebook. I hope a few missing people have just switched to other platforms. Yeah, I hope so too. Shasta Bize is saying hi from Los Angeles. A good afternoon to you. Shortly after midday there. It's 10 past 8 p.m. in the evening here in Ireland. Sandra Boothroyd is in the house. Evening to you all. Very good evening indeed. Yes, and the same right back at you. Ali is in Tucson. So happy to be here for another week. It's always a great pleasure. Ali, hope it's not too hot over there. Brendan Byrne says, fine fettle. Sounds like something a blacksmith might say. What say you, Tom? Yes, like challenge accepted. Lily Shambles. Oh, bugs, I'm late. Hope all are well. We're only just getting warmed up, Lily. There's no problem at all. Johnny Wilson is in Dallas, Texas. Good afternoon to you, Johnny. Hope you're in good form. Lexi Erickson just got on. Windy and cool in Denver, 13 Celsius. Wow. Which is a bit cool, but then you're probably up in the mountains. Hang on, Anthony's selling mythology rocks now. Josh Murphy is saying greetings from London through security now. That's my son. Happy belated birthday to him and his twin, who are in the airport flying home this evening. And the plan is, when I finish the live stream, I'm going to collect them from Belfast Airport. So a bit of a long drive up the road this evening, but it'll be great to see him because he's been away for a month. Josh, you must be really bored if you're watching Live Irish Bits. Hello to Luke and Josh, and happy birthday. I'm sure you're all singing happy birthday to them right now. Yeah, living the life, living it up in London, you know. Brian Ledford saying, just finished the Mythical Ireland book. Good stuff. Dealing with the, how do you say that? Cicadas or cicadas invasion here in North Georgia. 80 Fahrenheit and sunny here. Well, I'd say lucky you, but I'm not so sure I would take the invasion of the insects, to be honest. Wow. Yes, I tell you, what a treat that one of my kids is actually watching my live stream. Wow. You know, my dad watches. He was commenting last week. But anyway, we're going to talk about Loughcrew and Bealtaine. I should tell you about the Loughcrew film. You can see it on the History with Calliagh channel, but as of tomorrow, I'm going to upload it tomorrow and make it available probably from 8 p.m. tomorrow on the Mythical Ireland YouTube channel. That is a year in the making in a way, because Calliagh first approached me last year and said, how would you feel about making a film about Loughcrew to be broadcast on my channel? I said, yeah, I'd love to collaborate. At that stage, she was heading for 100,000 followers on YouTube. Just to put that in perspective, the Mythical Ireland YouTube channel has been around since 2008, and there are 21,000 followers. History with Calliagh got set up, and within a couple of years, she had 100,000. As of last night, for the premiere of the Loughcrew film, she had something like 179,000 followers. Wow. So fantastic stuff, and delighted to collaborate with Calliagh. But of course, the collaboration was bigger than that. I worked with my very good friend, Grant Wakefield, who's a filmmaker originally from England, living in Ireland, who I've collaborated with on a number of projects. If you're a patron and you have seen the Michael Quirk, the Woodcarver documentary on Patreon, or if you've seen the Michael Slieve interview on the Hill of Tara, those were shot and edited by Grant. He's also very well known in megalithic circles. See what I did there? He's also very well known in stone circles for his work on a wonderful film called Ancient Skies, which was originally designed to be broadcast full dome in planetaria, and also an associated film called Remnants. So I was interviewed by Grant back in 2009 and 2010 for Ancient Skies, and we've known each other since then and kept in touch. Delighted to have worked with him. Monday a week ago, Monday, two Mondays ago, this day 2 weeks ago, or this day a fortnight ago if you prefer, Grant and I spent a dull, cold, windy day on the top of Loughcrew filming that short documentary. We arrived around 10 o'clock. We were on the top of the hill from 10:30 in the morning until about 7 p.m. in the evening. Tired and exhausted, but also it was a very rewarding day. I hope that you enjoy the upshot, the results of our efforts. Masterfully and beautifully finished off with the music of Andrew Heath, and our gratitude to him for providing the music. So I'm going to, as I say, upload that to the Mythical Ireland YouTube channel so you can watch that here tomorrow. Right now, I'm just going to talk about a particular aspect of Loughcrew, and of course, astronomical Bealtaine. And when I speak about Bealtaine, I talk about the cross-quarter day that is halfway. It's funny, it's cross-quarter, but I say halfway between the vernal equinox and the summer solstice. It is not on the 1st of May, which is a convenience of the Gregorian calendar. You'll see lots of people posting across social media on the 1st of May saying Happy Bealtaine. It's not officially Bealtaine, although in recent centuries, the folk celebrations associated with Bealtaine were generally held on the 1st of May. As I say, a convenience of the Gregorian calendar, but not the true date of Bealtaine, which is a halfway point in days. So if you measure the number of days between spring equinox and summer solstice and you divide in the middle, you get, actually you would have got, if you're in Ireland, 11 minutes past midnight on Sunday the 5th of May, which was yesterday. So just gone very slightly past it. So the next celebration in the 8, if you like the phrase, some people don't, but I don't have a huge problem with it. The next celebration in the 8-part calendar is, of course, summer solstice, the longest day of the year, which is coming up on 21st of June. Wow, time is flying. It seems no time ago that we were in the depths of winter. And of course, it was a long winter here in Ireland. We had a lot of cloud and a lot of rain, although not, it has to be said, a lot of cold weather. And here we are entering into summer, and already we've passed the beginning of summer festival, and we're heading for the midsummer festival. And then after that, we'll be looking to the end of summer or beginning of autumn festival at Loughcrew. Time is literally flying around. The convenience, or one of the conveniences of the old 8-part wheel of the year, if that's what you want to call it, or the 8-part calendar, is that each segment occupies between 6 and 7 weeks. It's like 6 weeks and 3 days or something like that. So it's just over 6 weeks from festival to festival. So now we're heading for midsummer. After midsummer, we'll be 6 weeks and a little bit until Loughcrew. Then another 6 weeks and a little bit until fall equinox in the States is what you call it. We call it autumn equinox. Another 6 and a little bit weeks, and we're into the next cross-quarter date, which is the halfway point between autumn equinox and winter solstice, and that will be Samhain. Again, celebrated on the 1st of December, 1st of November even, but not actually falling on the 1st of November, usually falling somewhere on the 4th, 5th, 6th of November, and then we're heading back to winter solstice. If all that sounds like I'm rushing through the year, it's because, as I say, tempus fugit, time does be flying. Before I continue, say hello to a few more people who have arrived. A lot of people saying happy birthday to the lads, which is brilliant. Brilliant. Lily Shambles, for instance. Josh saying, I just can't wait to get home. Love to the trip, but missing everyone now. Well, we'll see you in a few hours in Belfast International Airport, all going well. Hedda Marie saying, happy birthday. Cicadas. Ah, yes. So it's sick, not chick. Yes, thank you. Brendan Byrne is suggesting that Anthony's new album will be on sale soon. Mythical Rocks, Celtic rock at its best. Megalithic. Yeah, you've heard of Megadeth. Now we have Megalithic. Hello there to Anthony. This is Tom King. He's in the house. And the mighty to a lovely evening at the Boyne Valley. Good fire going and working away. I see you're very busy, Tom. Between being on the hill of Loughcrew for the Bealtaine sunset, being filmed by the Vikings, promoting Viking festivals, doing all the stuff you're doing with Emerald Park, hosting all those magnificent visits to your forge, and generally trying to fulfill orders. Have to say, I don't know how you haven't split yourself in 2 or 3 at this stage to try and deal with it all, but well done. Happy May to everyone. Cloudy here in Connecticut, says Deborah Gilbert, but warm. Wow. It's warm here too, which is brilliant. Alwyn Roy Badzek is in the house. Have just watched. It's brilliant. I presume Alwyn is talking about the Loughcrew film over at History with Calliagh. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And Elaine saying that she loved Tom's interview with young, is it Ellie or Eli? Eli, I think. The best way to appreciate home, Lily is telling Josh, is to go away for a bit. Hope you had a great time, and happy birthday to you both. Yes, indeed. Barb also watched the show, and it was great, brilliant stuff. Glad you enjoyed that, Barb. Wayne Bird is saying hello to Tom. Lots of conversation going on there. John Main is in the house. Sorry, late. Just checking in. Hello, everyone. Brilliant stuff, John. Good afternoon to you. Hope you're in fine form. Valerie Gallagher is listening in from a warm, cloudy Rhode Island, transplanting peppers as I listen. Very nice. Will they end up in a salad, I wonder? Or a bolognese? Catherine Dempsey Williams is saying hello from Glastonbury. Looking forward to listening back to this later. Brilliant stuff, Catherine. A very good evening to you, and of course, all our friends over in England. Lovely day. Finally, in the Bay Area, says John Main. Well, you've been waiting for that for a while, huh? Finally, the clouds parted and the sun came through, and John felt, well, I've really made it, you know. Brilliant stuff. Right. Back to Bealtaine. So, one of the interesting things about the Loughcrew cairns is the fact that there are a series of different orientations of those cairns. So they're all what we archaeologists would call them passage tombs or chambered cairns. Some people don't like the idea of the monuments being tombs. But if you read Eugene Conwell's paper about his excavation, sorry, I definitely did not yawn there, just in case all the rest of you are going to start. If you read Eugene Conwell's paper about his excavation of the Loughcrew cairns in 1869, I know it's a long time ago, you will find that he found human bones in all of them. So there's an undeniable reality that they are, in fact, graves. They are tombs. That doesn't mean that's all they are, of course, and a lot of them appear to have astronomical alignments. And yes, I suppose in a way it could be broadly said that these places were some sort of cultural center for gatherings of people. They're not strictly tombs only, but of course tomb is a big part of the function of them. And a very good example of that is Dún O'Neill, the mound of the hostages at the Hill of Tara, where in a very small passage that is only about, look, I don't know if it's 8 feet long, it's about 2 meters long. There were about 200 people interred. Okay, fragments of bones, because in the Neolithic they didn't drag entire corpses inside stone buildings and let them rot in there. No. All of that was done out in the open. It seems from a lot of it is theoretical. Of course, we don't have the archaeological remains of exactly how it was done, but we think they put the dead up on. Oh, he's at it again. This is not a good start, folks. Up on elevated platforms for excarnation or defleshing to take place, so that nature would do its thing basically, and strip the flesh. Some people were cremated, some weren't. It may be that some part of some people's remains were cremated and part of them weren't. But of course, when they were broken down into small fragments, those are the fragments that end up in Neolithic passage tombs. Very, very little in the way of big bone fragments or whole bones or long bones. No complete tibias or humerus bones, for instance, or scapulas. There is a tendency, it looks like, towards the latter part of the Neolithic or the latter part of the passage tomb building era, that larger skull fragments were interred in the chambers. For instance, we see that in Sligo. And for reference, watch back an episode that we did here on the YouTube channel called the Sligo Bones, which is a fascinating insight into the phases of use of the Sligo tombs based on an analysis of the bone material, human, and of course the deer antler that was recovered from those monuments back in 1911 by R.A.S. McAllister, Robert Lloyd Prager, and is it ECF Armstrong? I know he's 3 initials. I can never remember what they are. Yeah, fascinating stuff. There's a forensic examination, and the science has come on in leaps and bounds in the past couple of decades. We can now sequence entire genomes, so we can look at aDNA, ancient DNA, and even see the relationships between people in the distant past. And we even found out that there's a child buried at Poulnabrone Dolmen in the Burren in County Clare, who had what's it called, Down syndrome, oldest known case in history is in Ireland. Let me just again catch up with the comments, because I see a lot of them flying in, which is a brilliant complaint. Of course, there are currently 58 people watching on both YouTube and Facebook. It is 8:25. Let me just check. Lily is saying, also the best way to appreciate your young ones is for them to go away for a bit. Don't I know it? Just waiting for my youngest to get home from a LARP weekend. What's a LARP weekend? Eva Barnett is saying all of the above. Desiree Riley is in the house. Me and Amadeus, happy to be tuning in with everyone. It's a rather unseasonably cold day here in Grand Junction. We even got snow last night, but it all melted by noon. Snow in May? Wow. Desiree, stay warm. John Smith is in Texas. A growing coterie of Mythical Ireland followers in Texas for some reason. Hello, John. Hope you're in good form. Office Care 36, who is Peter in Monaster Boy, says, Ishnock Week. Yes, indeed. Are you going, Peter? Because I'll be speaking there and spending some time with Tom King. Lily is asking me to stop the yawning. I will do my very best. Kerem Gogus says, hello, friends. Hello, Mythical Ireland. Good afternoon. Good evening to you, Kerem. Hope you're in good form. Always a delight to see you, my good and very old friend. I don't mean you're very old. I mean, we've been friends for a long time. John Main says, but I wonder if they were originally built as tombs, given that they were being used for a few thousand years. No, in fact, they weren't being used for a few thousand years. It looks like in the case of Bruna Bonia, they're only used for a century or so. So yeah, but the astronomical function, it suggests, a crossover between science and spirituality, really, Anna L is in the house. Good evening, Anthony and the Tua. Well, hello to you, Anna L. Are you down the road in Ballybrigeen? Watched a good documentary on TV, says Brendan, about the tombs in South England that are covered in grass, which they now realise is only because of the passing of time. They now realise they were made of white limestone. Couldn't help thinking of the use of quartz in Tara. Well, quartz at Newgrange and at Loughcrew and other places. Maybe white and shiny was the order of the day. It seems so. Archaeoastronomy database Tyrell has joined us. Just made it. Well, good. We're glad that you made it at all. We know how busy a man you are plotting all of these alignments. Hope you found the Loughcrew film interesting. No, I love the cold, says Desiree. The one thing I'm not looking forward to on my next visit to Louisiana for my sister's wedding is the heat. Yeah, well, there you go. I think Rex Fortenberry is in Louisiana, so he knows all about it. Live action role play. LARP. Basically, they dress up and run around and some battle in a field. That sounds like great fun. Much better than sitting in front of an Xbox all day, I can assure you. Well, I can't assure you because I don't sit in front of an Xbox. I don't know what that's like. But when I was a younger man, I did play computer games. Anyway, we talked about that recently before anyone asks. What were we saying? What were we saying? You weren't saying anything. I was speaking at 100 miles an hour and I need to take a breath. And you also need to take a breath because it's like, oh my God, it's exhausting listening to this guy. So I want to show you a photograph of Cairns. I'm going to show you a photograph of Cairns from the air. Give me 1 second. I uploaded some picturi before we went live. This is Cairns from the air, a vertical shot looking straight down. As you can probably see, actually, yeah, that doesn't matter. You can't see me. That's probably a good thing, which means that when I do these overlay pictures, I can yawn and you won't be able to see. Never mind. So Cairns is one of the smaller cairns at Slieve na Calliagh, which is, let's say, the third from west to east, the third of the hills, the second from the east. And I think it's the highest of them all and is the highest peak in the county of Meath. Well, Cairns, as you can see, lost a lot of its cairn material a while back in recent centuries, probably. And a lot of the cairn material, the loose stones, were taken off, probably to be used as field boundaries. You might see just running across the bottom left of that picture is one of those old field boundaries, those are highly likely to have been made during famine times by the poor people who were sent up onto the hills because their land had been confiscated. And if you look at the parallel ridges straddling the aerial photographs of Loughcrew, you'll probably notice that there are a lot of them, and they are the remnants of the lazy beds or the ridge and furrow cultivation for growing potatoes. So Cairns, as you can see, has something of a Y-shaped chamber, and the passage, which is kind of pointing up in that image, points to the sort of west-northwest, or the west-northwest, yes, kind of generally in the northwesterly direction. Beautiful ancient monument. Something very organic and interesting and varied about the curb of stones around it. But it was back there in 1980 that Martin Brennan and Jack Roberts and their team of researchers, which included at various times many others, they discovered that Cairns appeared to be aligned towards the setting of the sun at a specific time of year, which is this time basically. So you'll know because you'll know that because I boasted about it at the time a while back, sometime last year, I got my hands on a pristine copy of the original hardback edition of Martin Brennan's book, The Stars and the Stones, Ancient Art and Astronomy in Ireland. The book was published in 1983 or 43. It says copyright 1983, Thames and Hudson. First published in the USA in 1984 by Thames and Hudson. Anyway, Martin Brennan sadly passed away just before Samhain last year. And we're very, very sorry about that. Martin was one of those people who you could say was a true pioneer in that he and his team discovered things from right under the noses of the archaeologists. One of those, of course, was the alignment of Cairn T at Loughcrew, the largest of the cairns at Slieve na Calliagh, pointing towards the east for the equinox sunrises, and several other discoveries. But anyway, they made observations. I'm going to read this. Of course, I should have prepared this beforehand, but I just thought if I could grab the book, I'd be able to read it out to you, which I will momentarily as soon as I get the page that I need to be on. Cairns S and U at Loughcrew. Okay, so we'll just read a little bit of this. And again, this is from page 116 and 17 of Martin Brennan's The Stars and the Stones, later republished as The Stones of Time, just in case you're looking for it, and just in case the available editions of The Stars and the Stones secondhand are too expensive. I believe The Stones of Time is actually still in print. I believe it was published by Inner Traditions Limited. Cairns S and U at Loughcrew are satellite mounds positioned in close proximity to Cairn T on Cairnban East. We don't call it that. I call it Slieve na Calliagh, which is its old name. Cairnban or Cairnban means the White Cairns. There's only one hill that is, in old times, called Cairnban. And Desiree, Saskia's going out. You can hear that, and Coda is barking. So Cairnban or Cairnban is the westernmost hill. For some reason, somebody in recent times, was it Conwell? I'm not sure. Was it somebody after him decided that Cairnban should be called Cairnban West and Slieve na Calliagh should be called Cairnban East? I disagree. Yet again, we are depriving a place of its ancient name. Let's restore its ancient name and call it what it should be called. Not blaming Martin Brennan for that, by the way, at all. Cairn S indicates the cross quarter day on the 6th of May, or the 5th, depending, because it does actually vary. It doesn't fall on the same date every year. Remember, with leap years, it changes. And the cross quarter day on 8th of August, marking the beginning of summer and autumn. Cairn U is synchronized with Cairn L to indicate the cross quarter days on 8th of November and 4th of February, marking the beginning of winter and spring. Thus, together, the two satellite mounds of Cairn T serve to announce the 4 seasons of the year and in themselves form an agricultural and pastoral calendar. Cairn S is abundantly adorned with engraved emblems of the sun. This is not at all unusual, and in part 3, solar imagery will be discussed as a general feature of megalithic mounds. The imagery on the backstone of Cairn U may represent the rising sun. On the cross quarter day, the set of elongated arcs is illuminated by the rays of the sun. Cairn S is the smallest passage and chamber encountered so far. but it is still a fairly accurate indicator of the cross-quarter days in May and August. After and before these dates, the sun's rays enter the two side recesses. The right recess is now missing. Neither mound has any intact roofing, and a collapsed cairn material partly blocks the entrance to Cairns, yet both constructs are still capable of indicating the cross-quarter days by their orientation to the sun's position on the horizon. So let us have a look at a photograph of the sunset taken from within the chamber of Cairns. I hope you enjoy this one. Hang on, just need to catch up on the chat first before I do that. Jazira says Amadeus was so happy to hear his buddy Coda. Brilliant stuff. Did you hear the pitter-patter? Alan Hoskins, sorry I'm late, sir, but I haven't got an excuse. Sorry, but I haven't. I've got... Just read it, Anthony. Sorry I'm late, but I've got an excuse. I just haven't thought what it is yet. Evening, everyone. Brilliant stuff, Alan. And welcome. It's pretty cool to follow along on Google Earth, says Rex. Good idea. Paul Campbell is watching from Galway City on the Atlantic west coast of Ireland. Good evening, Paul. Hope you're in good form. Excuse me. And Anna L. confirming that she is indeed watching from Balbriggan, hometown, and loving it. Brilliant stuff. Yeah, we heard Saskia's toes too, lol. Helen saying hello to Archeo. Loved the YouTube piece, says Mariana. Brilliant stuff. Mariana, thank you. So, let us show the picture, yes. Which is this one. One of my favorites. So I'm positioned in the chamber of Cairns, looking out to the distant horizon, watching the sun just before it went down. You can see we got very lucky that evening. One of the twins was with me, I think it was Luke. And we got very lucky because it was largely overcast, but a small gap appeared in the sky between the clouds, just where the sun was going to go down, allowing the sun to shine through quite gloriously and dramatically, I think you'll agree. So the pictures I'm showing you of the sunset from within the passage of Cairns are all Lunasa pictures. So in other words, these are taken in early August, not at Bealtaine. These were taken when the sun was coming back down the horizon on the inevitable heading towards winter, but let's not even mention that. It's too early in the year to be talking about winter coming back, isn't it? The leaves have just appeared on our tree. I think I said that. So why should I even be mentioning winter? And here's another one from... it's another August picture, and again from standing within the chamber of Cairns, and again got lucky that evening too. A large amount of cloud. You can't see me yawning right now. Sorry, a large amount of cloud, but a lovely break in the sky just where the sun appeared from beneath the cloud before it set on the distant horizon. So, yeah, fascinating stuff. I hope you'll agree. So there's just one thing to be said. Well, there's many things to be said, probably. No, Anthony, just click it once. One of them is that due to the... all of this comes with a little bit of a caveat or a proviso. And that is that both cairns S and U at Loughcrew, having been partially damaged, denuded, some of their stones removed, we can't be entirely sure of the completeness of the passages. Cairn U, I think, is more convincing in that I don't think there's any of the passage stones missing. Cairn S, there are indeed, beyond those stones there's a gap there between the passage stones. The tallest upright there on the right of the sun, there's a gap between there and the curbstones that you can see lying beyond them. So, but it's hardly likely that the thing twisted and turned. I think we are looking at the original alignment, but it does come with that caveat that, you know, we can't be entirely sure. We can't be entirely sure. I think we can be 90% sure, but that has to be said anyway. the short nature of the passages, especially at Cairns, not so much Cairns, because Cairns' passage is very narrow. If those of you who've been in it and attempted to walk from the chamber of Cairns to the end of the passage will know this, because you kind of have to turn sideways. Because now I know the stones are probably leaning in a bit more, but if you look at the base of the stones, they're still close together. It's not like they're leaning over like that. They're only leaning over very slightly like that, you know. So I still think it was very narrow and it was designed that way. So I think it's more reliable in terms of its accuracy. Cairns is interesting, as is Cairns, as is Cairn L, which Brennan mentions. And if you give me a moment, I'm going to upload, because this is sort of important to the discussion. Cairn L has the same alignment as Cairn U, which is sunrise. Actually, I'm going to upload Cairn first of all and show you that. Sunrise at Samhain and Imbolc at the beginning of winter and the beginning of spring. So the other cross-quarter dates, not the ones we're talking about in relation to Cairns. That's Cairn U, looking down through that narrow passageway towards the hill of Tara, over which the sun rises at the cross-quarter dates. Cairn L is important. I will upload it and stop talking about uploading and actually do the uploading in one moment. Cairn L is important. And if you've read my book, Mythical Ireland, New Light on the Ancient Past, there's a very good chapter. Well, sorry, it's not for me to say that it's very good, but there's a chapter in there detailing the way I think Cairn L was designed to function. The sun shines in there for a month. But as we head towards Samhain, it is specifically at the time of the cross-quarter date of Samhain that something quite magical happens, which is, if I can find it, can I find it? Yes, this is what happens. The sun, give me 1 second. No, it's not letting me upload because it says the size is too big. Sincere apologies, folks. We will get there, I promise. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon. Here we go. So this is Cairn L at Samhain, when the sun, as it rises on the last of the days before its light can no longer reach the chamber, its light strikes that slender limestone pillar in the chamber, and reflected light is cast upon the most heavily decorated of all of the stones in the chamber of Cairn L. So we may fall into the trap of thinking about passages as the alignment of passages as being that which relates to the central axis of the passage. In other words, from the end recess, the midway point of that, and imagine that the alignment follows an imaginary line towards the middle of the passage and out towards the horizon. That may not be the case. That keeps happening. I click once and it comes back again. So Cairn U is very similar to Cairn L in that the central axis of its passage points to the sunrises in sort of mid-October and maybe towards the 20th of October or so. It's only as the sun retreats down the horizon towards Samhain that one has to lean oneself slightly to the side in the chamber of Cairn U. Sorry. You have to kind of lean this way. But that is when it rises over Tara. At Cairn L, this one, the moment that the sun rises and strikes that pillar at Samhain and again at Imbolc is the moment when the sun is rising out of the ruined cairn at Calliagh, which is the second of the four hills. So we have Cairnbawn, we have Calliagh, also known as Slieve, which is also known, or which might translate as the Red Mountain. I'm just looking for a picture of this while I'm chatting about it. At Cairn U, at Slieve na Calliagh, when the sun is rising at Samhain and again at Imbolc, it is rising out at the hill of Tara. So it seems that there's something interesting happening there that is not related to the central axis of the alignment, but rather towards the last days upon which the sunlight is able to enter each of the respective chambers. Can I find it? Of course, should have done more preparation on this, and apologies for that. But yeah, busy day. Here we go. So this is the view. I'm going to just show it's uploading there now. Should be visible in a second. That is the view. So when the sun rises out of the ruined cairn on Calliagh, that is when. This is the declaration, as it were, of Samhain, and in bulk again when the sun is returning, when it's coming back up the horizon day by day at sunrise after the winter solstice. The declaration is, watch what I'm doing on the horizon first of all, and then watch what I'm doing in the chamber, which is this, and then you'll know. So in the case of, and again, if you would bear with me, can I show that? I'm not sure that I can. No, I'm not going to show it right now. It's in the film, the Loughcrew film on history with Calliagh, which will be available to watch here on Mythical Ireland tomorrow evening. But at Samhain and Imbolc, Cairns points, the remotest angle of it points towards the Hill of Tara, where, by the way, Duan O'Neill, the Mound of the Hostages, has exactly the same alignment. It points towards the sunrise at Samhain and at Imbolc. Now, if you were watching the film, you'll know that Cairns is unusual in that it has a passage that points somewhere towards the western horizon. It is one of just 3 out of 30 cairns on the Loughcrew Hills that points anywhere in the western horizon. If you were to dissect the circle of the compass with a line from north to south, almost all of the cairns point between north and south to the east on the eastern side, and a lot of them towards the sort of center of that, towards the east or northeast or southeast, in that sort of wedge. There are only 3 cairns at Loughcrew in total that point anywhere between north and south looking west, and Cairns is one of them. So you may know that, well, I hope some of you certainly will, because you'll have seen it before, but in August of 2022, a year and a half ago, myself and An Gawa, Tom King, made a trek up to Slieve na Calliagh, where we the aim of the expedition, if you want to call it that, was to observe whether some of the distant Sligo cairns were visible from Loughcrew. Something, by the way, that an archaeoastronomer, I was going to say astroarchaeologist, kind of the same thing. So something that one of Ireland's principal archaeoastronomers said was not possible, that it's not possible to see any of the Carrowkeel cairns from the Loughcrew cairns. Having surveyed with my own eyes the horizon of the northwest as viewed from Cairns over the years, I always just wondered about this. What were those distant mountains we were seeing? And of course, one of them is Cairns, which is in County Fermanagh overlooking Enniskillen. And then there's mountains there that straddle or that head westwards over further away that I thought, are they in Leitrim? Are they in Sligo? What am I looking at here, you know? And is it just possible? Is it remotely possible that one of the cairns... Now, I've covered this material before in a previous live stream, so I'm not going to labour on this one specifically for too long, but just as a recap more than anything else. Those are the giant binoculars that I brought up on, I think it was the last day of August in 2022. I think it was the 31st of August that year, I think. Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was the end of August. They're 25 magnification by 100. 100 is the objective lens size in millimeters. That's 2 sets of 4-inch objective lenses, which is brilliant for making such observations. Well, I wasn't scanning the horizon for long when I picked up what I saw was a cairn on a very distant hill. and it is circled in this. So this is a cropped photograph taken on a 300mm lens. So you'll see there's a few sets of hills in the intervening landscape. And this is across a considerable distance, by the way, 80, it's over 80 kilometers. I'm just checking that on the website as I speak. Yeah, just in case you're wondering just how far away that is, that cairn that is circled in that image is the lone cairn on the mountain known as Cairns being very famous in mythology, and also having the caves on its western side. But it has a single Neolithic cairn on its summit that is considered to be part of the Carrow-Keele, or what is called the Carrow-Keele-Keshkaran complex of monuments. Now, just bear with me 1 second. I'm going to take those pictures off and just make sure that everybody is still able to see. Barbara is asking, are there any good topographic maps of Ireland that would provide proof on paper of visibility? It's a funny one, but proof on paper isn't actually needed. It's definitely Keshkaran. And there are more modern versions of what you're talking about, which are viewshed websites, which show you the view from one hilltop and what's visible in the surrounding landscape. So I kind of knew going up there that there was just this chance that the very, 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 very top of Keshkaran and Carrow-Keele might be visible from parts of the Loughcrew landscape. Barbara Murphy wants, can someone please spell the names of these mountains? Well, Keshkaran is 2 words. I'll put that in as a comment in the chat. It's sometimes spelled as one, but I believe the Ordnance Survey have it as 2. Slieve na Calliagh at Loughcrew is just typing that in there as well. Kaylee Jording is in the house, and she's straight off to bed. Exhausted after all the Loughcrew comments. Brilliant stuff, Kaylee, and thank you again for the collaboration. We've just been speaking very highly about it all this evening, and lots of people have watched it, and lots more are going to watch it. So thank you again for all of that. Barbara, interesting suggestion. I need to do a photo a week calendar. Less trouble picking 53 photos. You might have an idea there. Lynn Foley is watching from El Paso in Texas. No need for apologies. This is a no-brown zone. Anna L, looking forward to the Fornox tour on the 13th of July. Brilliant stuff. Anna L, looking forward to seeing you there. Make sure to introduce yourself. Valentina is in Glastonbury. A very good evening to you. Not the only viewer from Glastonbury this evening, but hope you're in good form. Eva Barnett is saying, I would love a calendar with photos of all the alignments. I'm not sure I've captured all of them yet, but that's another fantastic idea. Yeah. It is available on thrift books in the US. Are we talking about the Stars and the Stones or the Stones of Time, John? Because the Stars and the Stones is valuable, if it's in good nick, Just got my copy of the Stones of Time, excited read. Brilliant. Okay. Brilliant stuff, John. Sorry, I didn't see that. Mythical Ireland, great book. Writing is absolutely magical. Thank you, Kerem, for your very, very kind remark. Have there been ground surveys at Loughcrew? Yes, there's been quite a thorough survey undertaken by, is it Linda McCormick, as part of a PhD thesis. I believe that's going to be published at some point. And I'm really looking forward to that because I believe it's a very, very detailed and comprehensive study of the landscape. Not sure about LiDAR, but certainly there's a comprehensive archaeological study of the landscape coming. That photo needs to be on a calendar. Which one, Lexi? Which one? Because I think a couple of the ones I've shown you this evening already have been featured in the calendar over the last few years. So here's the point at which we get a little bit distracted. Not distracted, but we're just going to I suppose, follow this line of questioning through. This idea that Cairns and U and L are aligned on the cross-quarter days. Now, I'm not for a second going to start disputing that they are. But I think what must be definitely acknowledged is the fact that that may not be the only thing that they're aligned on, given that Cairn, for instance, appears to accept sunlight for an entire month, maybe a little bit more. Cairn S, given the shortness of its passage, probably accepts the sunlight at sunset for a month or more. Cairn U being a little bit narrower, possibly not a full month, but certainly 2 or 3 weeks at least. Why am I saying at least? It's because I personally haven't made sufficient observations of sunrises at Cairn U and Cairn L to be able to say that with certainty, and I haven't seen enough sunsets at Cairn S to say that with certainty. However, one thing that I can tell you that's really interesting is it seems that the Kesh-Corran alignment is much closer to the central axis of the alignment of Cairn S passage, and that the setting of the sun at Bealtaine, which was yesterday, and there were photographs shared on Facebook because Lara Dooley and Tom King and lots of people were up there. And if you look at those photographs, and if you know the alignment and you've been in the chamber and you've looked out at the horizon, what I could see there is that the sun is now north of the central axis of the passage. Now, I'm not saying for a second that I don't think the passage is aligned on Bealtaine, but from my point of view, it's clearly not always just about that. For instance, Cairn U appears to point to the sunrise at Samhain and Imbolc, but it also accepts light at sunrise for 2 or 3 weeks before Samhain and 2 or 3 weeks after Imbolc. It also points on the distant horizon to Tara. It may also point to Fornox, something I have to investigate because of something that Jean McMahon wrote in a paper she published in 1994, which is 30 years ago today. She pointed out that there's a number of cairns at Loughcrew that point to the Fornox complex, and there's a number that point to the Brunabonia complex, which is not visible from Loughcrew, whereas the Fornox complex is. So I think there's something going on here involving pointing at distant monuments and pointing at significant sunrises. I think it needs more study, actually, is the long and short of it. Saskia barking, that's a rare treat. She barks when she wants to be fed, and she barks when she needs to go out. And when she's outside, when she's fed up being out and she wants back in, she kind of yelps more than barks. She doesn't bark in the way Coda barks. She kind of goes, you know, whereas he's Mark Gordon is in the house. He's saying hello from Iowa. Good afternoon to you, Mark. Yes. So what I'm saying is what we need is more study, as Tyrell of Archaeoastronomy Database is exactly saying. More study is exactly what's needed. All passages should have maximum and central angles recorded. I'd love to be doing that, but the great difficulty is Loughcrew, to get to the top of the hill there would take me about an hour and a half, and I just it's a funny thing. Every year I say, "Oh, why don't you? Wouldn't it be great to study now?" It's a lot of traveling, it's a lot of diesel, and there's domestic, and there's live streams, and there's Mythical Ireland work, and there's everything else that gets in the way. So maybe somebody closer at hand, but it needs to be done properly. It needs proper photography and a proper recording of the position of the camera on every occasion that the sunset's been taken. And it needs at least a 300mm lens to show exactly where the sun goes down. It also needs the wider photos too, but it needs a more comprehensive and detailed study. Myself and Grant, we made our film. We did all of most of the filming most of it, not all of it, on the 22nd of April, which is 2 weeks ago. We were a day or two in advance of the date upon which the sun should be setting directly into Kesh-Corran cairn when viewed from the chamber of Cairn S. Now, we were thinking and hoping to stay around that evening to see it and to photograph it. Unfortunately, we were just exhausted. We had spent the entire day on the hill. It was cold. Grant had a 2.5-hour drive home. I had an 1.25 hour drive home. And, you know, we'd packed up all and there was no way we were going to stay for another 2 hours. We just needed to get home, get fed, get warmed up, you know. So it's something that still needs to be studied at Loughcrew. It needs somebody to be at Cairns every day from probably early April through May, and even into June, and all the way back again into July and August, into September. Watch what the sun does every day and pinpoint the first day upon which it's visible from the chamber of Cairns, the center point, and the end day. Center point interests me because it seems to be more closely aligned with Calliagh, which would be the 23rd/24th of April, than astronomical Bealtaine, which is about a week and a half later. So that to me suggests that there's definitely more observation and study required, would be delighted to do it. Perhaps it's something I could get funded to do, actually, because it's something I personally would love to be done. Full Irish Gary's wondering if it could be done with a remote camera. Well, of course, no is the straight answer. We have a problem with people visiting Loughcrew at all hours of the day and night, and some of them carving their names onto stones and damaging and climbing up on cairns. So you can imagine if you tried to leave a camera in that location, that it would just be vandalized or whatever. Plus, because Cairns doesn't have a roof, it's not like at Cairns back in the days before Cairns was locked completely. You could have put a camera in Cairns and kept the gate locked. Or in fact, maybe it's the sort of thing that could happen now, but not at Cairns. Somebody could just come up and carry the camera off and you'd never see it again. It's a good idea, but it's just unfortunate. There's nothing beats the presence of a photographer and an observer, somebody to take photographs and somebody to take notes, and a sketch of where the camera is, and a note of what times, although those times are generally recorded on the camera anyway, but a good note of the times, and just watch exactly what does really happen at Loughcrew. Brennan's team did make several observations at Loughcrew over periods of time, but it still wasn't comprehensive enough. I think he just, from his observations, he decided, it looks like it's aligned on Bealtaine and Lughnasadh, and looks like Cairnell and Cairnew are aligned on Samhain and Imbolc, but they're not just aligned on those things. So as I say, thanks, Lucas. Buona serata, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for stopping in. Monica Regley's in the house. Hello, Monica. Very good evening to you. Hope you're in good form. I know a guy who will camp out in a car and go up at all hours, says Ty. He's not quite there yet, but one day. Well, brilliant. Because it's the sort of thing that I think is needed before we have a comprehensive picture as to the broader picture of the alignments, as it were. Because it's okay to say this is aligned on Samhain, this is aligned on Imbolc, this is aligned on Bealtaine and Lughnasadh, but it's wider than that. And Cairnell, I think, is the one that rings some, not alarm bells, but Cairnell is the one that says to us, hang on, just be careful here not to just rush to the idea. At Cairnell, there's something very significant happens inside and outside the cairn, coinciding with the astronomical alignments. Cairns doesn't share that because the Calliagh alignment and the Bealtaine and Lughnasadh alignment are actually slightly off. They're off by about a week and a half. I would estimate, by as many as maybe 8 sunwidths. Would that be right, Ty? Does that sound even sort of remotely, it's an approximation, but does that sound like it might be close to the reality, So I mentioned this before, of course, because also in conjunction with that, don't forget, we must take account of the moon. The moon is very important in the Neolithic calendar, I believe. The moon is what give you your months and your weeks. That 7 days between each significant phase of the moon, the appearance of the first crescent to first quarter, maybe I should do that. Never mind. You know what I'm talking about, the half moon. The half moon to the full moon to the next or the last half moon, and the last half moon to the invisible moon or the new moon. So the moon is going to do some interesting things. So, for instance, the full moon at Lughnasadh and Imbolc at certain times in its cycle will shine into the chamber of Cairns. That's something that needs to be observed. The full moon at Bealtaine and Lughnasadh will, at certain times in its cycle, shine light into cairn L and cairn U. I look, this is all very important. The other thing is, of course, cairn V, where Ken Williams, I think in 2022, photographed midsummer sunset in apparent alignment, because the passage and chamber stones, pardon me, of that monument are somewhat in a state of disarray. It's not immediately always obvious what the axis is, but Ken thinks it's a summer solstice alignment. So you would basically have, you'd be able to track almost everything. There's a cairn at Patrickstown, which is it cairn X1? Not entirely sure. One of them, I think Frank Prendergast, the archaeoastronomer, has shown is likely to be aligned on winter solstice sunset. So this is rather exciting. If you move from hilltop to hilltop at Loughcrew, you will see the progression of the sun through the 8 calendar dates. That's assuming these were something that was acknowledged in prehistory, when in fact the first mention of the cross quarter days is in medieval times, in Cormac's glossary in the late 9th, early 10th century. The first mention of Bealtaine, for instance, is in there. So assuming that these were celebrations in the Neolithic, and maybe that's a bit of an assumption as well, you would be at cairn, is it X1 at winter solstice for the sunset, then moving over to either cairn U on Slieve na Calliagh or cairn L on Cairn Bon. You would watch the sunrises at Imbolc. Then you would move to cairn T for the sunrise at vernal equinox. Then you would move to cairn S for the sunset at Bealtaine. Summer sunset, you would move to cairn V and watch the summer sunset at cairn V. And as the sun retreats back down the horizon, you're back over to cairn S to watch the sunset at Lunasa. Then you're back to cairn T to watch the sun rise at the autumn equinox. And then you're back to either cairn U or cairn L for the sunrise at Samhain, before returning to where you started, cairn X1 and winter sunset. Yes, says Tyrell, 8 or 9 widths from cross quarter to the right, and the more central axis. Sounds about right. Yes, indeed. Now, there was a video I've shared on the Loughcrew Megalithic Centre Facebook page, which was likely shot by either Niall or Sarah. Hello, Niall and Sarah, by the way, shout out to you. You made a very important video, but it was a wide angle view and you didn't zoom in, but you made a video of the sunset and you shared it a couple of days after myself and Grant had been up there. And I thought, wow, this is the day upon which the sun is setting into Keshkaran. I'm going to see if I can share that. Yeah, April 24th at 9:26 p.m. sunset obsession continues. Had the hill to myself for this evening's sunset. So quiet and peaceful. Now, the poster didn't or Sarah, but they pan across and you see the sun. The reason I know it is, well, now they're not positioned at Cairn S. They seem to be positioned east of Cairn S, so they're not exactly, but still it's exciting. So you can see Loch Sheelin from Cairn S. I wonder if I got a picture that I can show you that in. Sorry. Can I see Cairn S? Sorry, can I see Loch Sheelin in one of my images? I can't. I'd have to upload one, but give me a moment. I'm going to share this video with you if you want to watch it. It's on Facebook. Tyrell, I know you'll be interested in this. Back to the chat, Anthony, and paste. So that's, I'm just sharing that as a comment there now. But you'll see as he or she pans past in the early part of the video at 3 and 4 seconds, as they pan past the sunset, the sun is setting over a piece of land that juts up in the intervening landscape across Loch Sheelin. And it is that part of the landscape across which you're looking when you're looking towards Keshkaran. I was excited to see it, but then go, oh, we should stop and zoom in, you know. In fact, no, they're slightly west of Cairns. Yeah. So it actually looks to me that on the 24th, it was beyond Keshkaran. And in fact, on the 22nd, when myself and Grant were there, if only we had decided to stay, we might have seen something. But it was a cloudy day that day. And There were only towards the evening a few gaps in the clouds, so it might have been possible. Lexi is saying, wow, that's a lot of travelling to see the sun sets and sun rises. Yes, indeed. Mark Monaghan saying, fantastic, never knew that. Not sure which part of it, Mark, because I've been talking so much, and I apologise for that. North County Moocher is saying, definitely more than one reason for building the structures, tombs and time season markers. Fascinating alignments, no doubt. They're all connected in their purpose and usage. What I really like about Cairns is that, you know, while they were watching the sunsets at this time of year, they're also looking back towards maybe their homeland. Because remember, it is considered by archaeologists, and there's some dating evidence to support this, that the oldest of the passage tombs are the ones in Sligo, and the younger ones are the ones in County Meath. So it may be that these people are pointing back to the place where their ancestors had come from, the place where their ancestors had built the earlier passage tombs, or what we call passage tombs, what might have been called the She in mythology. And in that image there, if you look just beneath the sun, you can see the sun's light reflecting on Loch Sheelin. That image taken at Lunasa as the sun's coming back down the horizon. So you can definitely see there that the sun is north of where it needs to be if it's setting over Keshkaran. So the Keshkaran alignment and the Bealtaine and Lunasa alignment are not the same thing. They're distinct. They're two slightly different angles, two slightly divergent sunsets, as it were. How far apart are all these cairns? Well, I'm just trying to find the Keshkaran. I think Keshkaran is between 80 and 90 kilometers, which would be over 50 miles from Cairns. I'm just reading it here on my own blog. So you want to read about the discovery of that alignment. It's 94 kilometers, actually. So it's, what's 94 kilometers in miles? It's about 58 miles, I think, is it? I think it's about 58 miles. No, it's not 58. Sorry, it's a little bit less than that. It's about 55 miles, is it? No, it is. Sorry. So Keshkaran is 94 kilometers or 58 and a half miles from Cairns. Now, if you want to read all about the discovery of this visibility between Cairns and Keshkaran, my blog post, which I'm linking right now in the comments, is the place where you'll get the most information and detail about it. I also made a live stream about it at the time, episode number 193, which I will also share with you. I believe you'll find it interesting if you're interested in the current topic. Oh, come on, stop messing. Stop your messing now. Quit it. Do you hear me? Windows, don't. Not right now, Microsoft. Or I'll be writing a stern letter of complaint to Mr. Bill Gates. So that's the YouTube recording of our live stream, which was streamed, I think, at the time, 193. Imagine that's episode number 193. We've done 80-something episodes since then. Could all this information not be fed into an AI program to see what it produces or speculates? Well, maybe it could. I just don't have the expertise. Brendan, yeah. And the thing is, I still think we need to collect more data. I think Tyrell has agreed. We need more observations. We need to know when is the first day that light can enter the chamber of Cairns, when is the last day. We need to know that for Cairn U as well. And we probably need to know it for Cairn L, although Frank Prendergast has published a paper in which he has written about the range of dates there, so that perhaps that would only be repeating his work and no need to do so, you know. But yeah, look, absolutely, AI, I know, is probably going to be used in archaeology, and especially when it comes to large data sets, you know, where we have a lot of data available about various things, that we're able to say to AI, find the patterns here, find the commonalities, have a look at this, come back to me and tell us what the human eye is not seeing in all this. So Loughcrew continues to fascinate. You know, when you go to Slieve and Calliagh, you're conscious of the fact that Cairn T, being the famous one, is locked to the public, and a campaign by Lar Dooley and others there to get it reopened again. And myself, I'm also looking for the same outcome. You've got cairn S and cairn U and cairn V. And then there's not a whole lot else unless you go to one of the other hills. But in that little self-contained area, I think there's enough work still to be done. For instance, it was only during the pandemic that we finally got an answer to a question that people have been asking for decades about Newgrange. How long does the sun shine into the chamber of Newgrange before and after the solstice? And for years and years and years, we were told about a week before and after. And the reason nobody knew is because nobody had ever studied it. Nobody had been there every morning for weeks and weeks and weeks. And when that was finally done, by the way, including remote camera technology, a study undertaken by Frank Prendergast, Claire Tuffy, and involving others such as Ken Williams and John, what's John's name? The photographer for the National Monument Service. It'll come to me in a moment. John, apologies for momentarily forgetting your name. John Lawler. It's incredible that it took until a pandemic only a few years ago for us to finally get the answer about Newgrange. We don't have the answer about Cairn T. When is the first day that sun shines into the chamber of Cairn T and the last? We know that it shines in there on the day of the equinox. Of course, we know that. And of course, remember the sun's daily movement on the horizon, whether at sunrise or sunset, is fastest at the equinoxes and slowest at the solstices. So it's likely that the equinox alignment covers a shorter period of time because the sun is moving faster. So a lot of work still to be done. And yes, and there's Tyrell just pointing out, without detailed 3D scans of all site features and higher resolution terrain data than is usually available, AI won't have much more data than we are working with digitally. Yeah. And you still can't beat boots on ground. We need boots on the ground, An 18-day span around the modern winter solstice corresponds to 22 or 23 days in the Neolithic. Yes, of course. What about the poles moving within this long time? I heard that they even had moved due to the massive earthquake. And I think that, the obliquity of the ecliptic is the axis of the Earth, if you can imagine, is this pen. It oscillates gradually between 22 degrees and 26 degrees over a period of time, long period of time. That oscillation or that obliquity of the ecliptic causes the sunlight on the morning of solstice not to be able to reach the center of the end recess of the Newgrange chamber like it probably did 5,000 years ago. In thousands of years to come, maybe 5 to 10,000 years in the future, the sun will not be able to shine into the chamber of Newgrange any longer due to this wobble, this obliquity of the ecliptic. However, it will come back again because it's a cycle. You see, it oscillates, it comes back and forward. So the net effect of that on the sun's rising positions at solstices are that the rising positions today are a little bit inside of where they were in the Neolithic. 2 sun widths in each case, or maybe a little bit more than 2 sun widths. I don't know how to pronounce that. What is it? Lycoperdon Pyroformis says hi. Hello there to you on your barely pronounceable name on YouTube. You're very welcome to Live Irish Myths. We're almost finished, by the way, but hopefully you'll come back next week. There's a PhD student who's entered the alignments on a chart, but it's not perfect, in part due to satellite tombs and others like Loughcrew that might have been more aligned to other communities. Yeah, I think before we know any definitive answers, we need the data. We need to know when is the first and the last, And Michael Trott is watching. Good morning on Nuashelon Tua. I've been to Loughcrew once with a couple of cousins. They called the Hill of the Witch, cairns galore. Yeah, Slieve na Calliagh, sometimes translated as the witch or the hag, an ancient female entity or deity associated with the place. So I think that's it. There's much more I could say, of course, about Bealtaine, but I think we've covered it in previous live streams. And do, of course, if you're new, especially, or you're only a recent arrival, do use the search feature on the YouTube channel to search our older live streams. We've done 277 of them. There are 1,500 videos on the Mythical Ireland YouTube channel. Do use the search function of the Mythical Ireland website at www.mythicalireland.com to find related material, because there's lots of it there too. We have to find, I think, we being me, I have to find time, more time to devote to this subject, which is an ancient love of mine. It's a strange thing to say, but astronomy has held a deep fascination for me since I was a young boy. And I now suspect that I've been making astronomical observations over several lifetimes. And maybe, just maybe, I was there back all those years ago at Brunabonia or Loughcrew or Sligo, making observations at night and watching for distant star risings and moon risings and star sets and moon sets and sunrises and sunsets. And don't forget, we also have to factor in Venus. Then we start to get complicated. But anyway, when we have the data, and we can specifically say this is exactly the range of azimuths to which Cairns points, then we can have a look at what else might have been a target of it astronomically, if anything. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Don't forget, I am uploading the Loughcrew film to the Mythical Ireland YouTube channel tomorrow. We'll make that premiere at 8 p.m. tomorrow. I'll be in the chat in case you want to have a chat. I won't be live on camera like I am now. I wanted to upload it so you could watch it tonight, but Streamlabs only allows a maximum of 300 megabyte video to be uploaded. So that was going to be a little bit impossible, because if I try to play it here and show it to you, you won't be able to hear the sound. But we'll figure out a way to make it all happen. Just again to say, I'm going to copy and paste in here the significant links, especially to you newcomers. A number of significant links if you're looking for more information. The website, the mailing list, the patron, the books, the t-shirt, the limited edition prints and the gift vouchers, the blog, the Facebook page and community, the Instagram, the YouTube, the Twitter, the threads, the tours and the Google reviews. All of those will be with you in one moment. No, it's not going to let me paste them in, so because there's too many of them, but I'll just paste in the really important ones. And yeah, in about a half an hour or so, myself and my good wife are heading up to Belfast to hopefully collect our sons, who are coming home from London this evening. And yeah, we're looking forward to that. Please do, as I say, sign up on the YouTube channel, ring the notification bell, very important, so that you actually get notified when we live stream. Generally, Live Irish Myths is live streamed on Monday evenings at 8 p.m. Irish time. That's 3 p.m. Eastern or 12 noon Pacific if you're in the States. So it's usually the same time every week. Sometimes I have to postpone due to family issues or other things that are going on, work and tours, etc. If that happens, I usually let people know on the social media. That would be mainly the Facebook page and the Instagram and the Twitter. So do come back next week. In the meantime, if you're new, there's tons of stuff. Between the website and the YouTube channel and the social media, there's a century of reading to be done. So much to do, so little time, says Anne. Good luck with that, Anthony. Yes, indeed. 24/7, they're numbers that just don't make any sense. We need 50-hour days and we need 10 days in a week. Oh, wait, hang on. Somebody would take advantage of that and make us work 8 of them and still only give us a 2-day weekend. As always, so much that you give us. Many, many thanks. Drive carefully. Yes, indeed, Anne. Thank you for that. And yeah, I hope that the weather is really suiting you over there and that the snow is gone until next winter. Safe travels for you and the missus, says Steve Martinson. Thank you, Steve. Our newest patron, by the way. Thank you for your support. Eva Barnett, setting a reminder for tomorrow. Safe travels. Yeah, so if you're subscribed to YouTube, when I upload the video, hopefully in the morning, I will set it as an 8 p.m. premiere. You should get a notification of that, but no harm to put it in your calendar. Sage travels, Anthony, says Monica. Who's the sage? I think it's my wife. It's not me. But I know what you mean, Monica. I know typo. Safe indeed. Yes, there you go. And if we are old, we need to watch it again to help our memories. I know I know all about having to repeat things to memorize them. Say hi to Belfast for me, says Alwyn. I will indeed. Safe journey. Thank you indeed. Who else? Happy birthday to the twins. Thank you, Anthony. Great episode. Glad you enjoyed it, Helen. And be safe, everyone. Brilliant stuff. And yes, a lot of people saying good night and thanks and all of those lovely things. So that's all really for now. All that remains me to say, and of course it's completely overcast again, it's getting dull, it's getting dark, is Equinox, which means good night. Only for those of you for whom it is night, of course. It'll be night for some of you later on. Colosov, which means sound sleep. Slán go fóill, which means bye for now. And my favourite, which is Tóg go bogé. Take it easy.